and welcome to Cult Storytime. I'm Angel. I wanted to talk about how my parents joined because I've had a few people ask me how my parents joined. Because first people thought I joined, and I was like, no, fam, like I was born into it. And I say that as if I wouldn't have joined. And in my head, now that I know what I know, I wouldn't have joined. But I think it is important to always acknowledge that you don't know what you don't know. And like, I have no idea if I would have joined. I might have. I might have been like, oh my God, they're hugging. I love it. And joined. Um, and I feel comfortable talking about my experiences. I feel less comfortable talking about other people's experiences simply because they're not mine. But I do want to talk about what they've told me about why they joined and just kind of go off of that and conjecture off it. Is conjecture? No, conjecture. Uh-oh. This is how to conjecture. I did it. Talk. I would like to talk about it. And again, also trying to be respectful of them because it is their story to tell or not. But at the same time, part of me is like, if they didn't want me to talk about them raising me in a cult, they shouldn't have joined a cult. So here we are. But my father joined when he was 19, so he was very young. And I think as a kid growing up, it's easy to blame your parents for things. But when I think about who he was at that time, he lost his father when he was young and he was looking for a father figure. And he was a 19-year-old kid in the 60s. And the leader of the cults called himself dad. Like I had to call him grandpa because I was second generation, but he called himself dad. And so he got a lot of lonely kids in the 60s whose parents had to like throw them out of the house or shun them or whatever because they were doing the weed. But he called himself dad and he created a safe environment. So my dad joined in Texas when he was 19. And then it was the same thing. I've talked about it in some other videos, which I'll link somewhere, where they have this formula where they just kind of get you and they keep you and they ship you overseas, which they did with him right away. And then with my mom grew up in Indonesia, and she grew up in poverty in Indonesia. So when she found the children of God, they were very welcoming to her. She thought she was getting a boyfriend. They did this whole thing called FFing, which I will talk about at some point, but it's basically catfishing. So she thought she was getting a really nice boyfriend and that he had roommates. And they were like, surprise, it's a cult. But I do also want to give them room and understanding for the fact that what they joined wasn't what I left. Like cults evolve. And I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt that perhaps they didn't know what they were joining. And then later on, as things started coming out, I do wonder, and I have asked them why they didn't leave once they started seeing this literature, and they both have their own reasons, and whether it's denial or actual reasonings or the inability to leave, I'll talk to them and ask them if they want to share it. But what they joined and why they joined, I mean, it's very different, but it stems from the desire to connect, I think, and the desire for a better life, which I think every single human being has. So my dad joined in Texas and my mother joined in Indonesia, and they actually met in Indonesia, and then they had me in China, and then they ended up in Japan. Um, but I want to talk about people joining because my therapist says we're going to start a lot of conversations this way. My therapist says that I still believe people are stupid for joining cults. And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm sorry, is that a bad thing? And he tells me that I need to be more empathetic towards people who join cults because it all comes from the same place. It all comes from the desire to be part of something good and in humanity. Oh my God, I'm having trouble with English today. It stems from the desire to do something good for humanity. And this cult always talked about, hey, like, we love Jesus, we want to spread the word of God. And like, I think once you join and you give up so much of your life, you give up all the life you know in order to join this thing that you think is going to be good. And then you find out that it's not good. But then now what are you going to do? Because in order to leave, you would have to leave a lot. You would have to leave a whole new life again, which is very devastating. So I want to talk about it, like how as it relates to people or whoever is watching, just because, again, it's the human condition, it's the desire to connect. But the only thing that I've been able to like suss out as I've thought about it is that I believe at the time my father was looking for some sort of structure in his life, as many teens were in the 60s. Um, and then I know my mother was looking for like security and for her and whoever like her family was and her children. And I think they both thought that they had found it, and turns out they didn't. Um, but I want to just talk about why I think I'm no longer susceptible to cults. Like if a cult comes up to me now and is like, please join, I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. And of course they don't say like, come join our cult. They always have some sort of like, come join Bible study, or we're going to study the stars, we're going to study astrology. There's always some sort of group thing. And anytime it's a group, if there's going to be more than like 2 people there, I'm not going. But then I've also had like cult leaders come up to me before and be like, I would like to have a coffee with you. And I'm like, okay. So I start having a conversation with them, and then I'm like, oh, this is recruitment. I recognize it. So not only can I recognize things now because I've been through it, but also, and I think this is important, is that if you build yourself a life where you gift yourself the things that you need, then you don't need it. You don't need someone else to build it for you. So in my life, I have structure. So I don't need somebody else to build it for me. So if somebody comes and offers me structure, I weigh it against what I've already built. And I've built something that caters to me perfectly because I'm the only one living my life. So when somebody comes in with a different structure, I will vet it, and it will need to be incredible and need to be better than the one I've built in order for me to take it into consideration. And then with human connection, I connect really well to myself. I thrive very well by myself. I don't know if that's true. I'm sure you can tell me in the comments if you think I'm thriving or not. But I enjoy my life. I know what I like, and I know what keeps me interested. I know how to make myself very happy. So I don't depend on other people for my happiness. And I know how to go on adventures by myself. So I don't need other people to create that for me. I'm happy to join somebody that has, but then the people that I join and the adventures that I go on and the books that I read, it's stuff that I've weighed against what I've created for myself. So I think that the more that you can gift yourself your own internal world, the less you will be susceptible to somebody coming in and being like, look, I built this world for you, just join it. Because what they will need in exchange for the world that they created for you is your freedom, every time. And whether it's financial freedom or freedom of speech or freedom to exist or freedom to create life or freedom to live your own life, they will take something from you in exchange for that world that they've created for you. And if you can create a world for yourself, you don't need to exchange anything. If you can create a world for yourself, you gain. If you ever have to exchange it for something, you lose. So my suggestion to whoever is watching is just to build yourself a life that is really full as possible. Find out all the things that you love. Find out your favorite foods, find out your favorite hobbies, find out your favorite TV shows, your favorite human beings, your favorite like coastlines. Find out how bad you are at chess. I spent some time finding that out. I'm very terrible, but I play against myself. So I lose every time, but I also win every time. So it's fine. But just like find out what thrills you, because you are the only one who can live your life, and you are the only one who can know what you need. So get to know yourself really well and give yourself permission to live your own really full life. That way, when somebody else comes in to offer you something, you already have something to weigh it against. So when somebody comes to offer you love, if you love yourself the right way and somebody comes and offers you love, you can weigh it against how you receive love. You can communicate to them how you receive love best. Or if they're offering something that you know is not love, you would only know that if you know what it's like. So build yourself healthy relationships to yourself. And I think that's the way that you will be safe from somebody else being able to come in and take over your life, is just create your own life. Move towards the things that make you feel loved and alive. And as you move towards those things, I think that it will keep you safe. So that is my little piece of advice. That is what I have to offer. And as usual, if you have questions, ask me questions, because I enjoy answering them to the best of my ability. So ask me stuff. Otherwise, I hope that you are enjoying quarantine to the best of your ability. I have learned nothing new today. What did I learn today? Oh, today I tried to cook and I learned that I'm very bad at cooking scallops, but now I know. Um, and tonight I'm gonna just eat ramen because I tried to cook and it didn't go well. But tomorrow I'll try to cook something else. But I hope that you're discovering new things about yourself and learning how to gift yourself a richer inner life through this time. That way, when you come out through to the other side, I think that when we go through times of hardship, when you come out on the other end, there's usually somebody there waiting to give you answers. And I want you to come out on the other end so that when the person is there offering you answers, you can be like, thank you for offering me your answers. I actually have my own. And I think that that is the way that you can keep your life safe and continue to live it just to the best of your ability. So thank you for being here, if you're still here. And ask me questions if you have them. Otherwise, I hope that you are thriving. And I will see you next time.